Today is on Sunday, 1st of December, the year 2024. We just want to begin by first thanking God for the free gift of life, the provisions He has actually provided to us, the abundance He has actually provided to us, the endless blessings that He has actually bestowed upon our lives, and we're still breathing. We thank Him for the fire He has actually brought us, and we really know that going forward is actually going to take us far. I actually happened to get a question in biology that was brought this year in Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education in Biology Paper 2. That was question 7. And you were told to actually pick either question 7 or question 8. And one of the questions I actually met in that section was how does hypothyroidism get symptomatically identified in a patient? I'll first begin by trying to explain to you something concerning a hormone called thyroxine. As you are all going to know, or some of you already know, thyroxine is one of the most important hormones that play very critical roles in the body of a human being. And to begin with, you should know that thyroxine hormone is produced by a hormone producing gland called thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is located in the neck region. I want to repeat this. Thyroid gland is located in the neck region. And this gland works hand in hand with a very important part of the brain called hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is a part of the brain that forms part of what you call the regions of the forebrain. We have the forebrain that actually consists of the cerebrum, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, and the pituitary gland. So hypothalamus forms part of the regions of the forebrain. Then you have what you call the midbrain or the corpora quadrigemia. Then you have what you call the hindbrain that consists of the pons, the cerebellum, and the medulla oblongata. So to just get back to our discussion, we've actually talked about thyroxine hormone getting produced by a gland called thyroid gland that is situated or located in the neck region. That gland can be able to produce thyroxine hormone if it is actually able to receive a nervous stimulation from the hypothalamus, is a very important part of the brain that still also controls thermoregulation and osmoregulation. Then you see, you need to understand this. When thyroxine hormone is produced, it can be able to play very critical roles biologically in the body of a human being, to be very specific. And one of the roles of this hormone is one, facilitates metabolism. That is to say, it enhances oxidation of glucose. Metabolism is just a term that is used to define or to explain how cells of a living organism can break down their food, for example, to produce energy. For example, when we take a diet rich in carbohydrates or proteins or fats, we know very well that any of these substrates can get used during respiration for us to get energy. My teacher in my high school education told me that carbohydrates are mainly used during respiration. And mainly, we normally talk about glucose, which gets broken down through respiration to produce energy. If carbohydrates are missing in action, or there is an inadequacy of carbohydrates, to be specific glucose, then the body goes for the proteins. Proteins can get broken down. And if proteins are missing, also fats can get broken down for the body to get energy. So we can talk about the breakdown of carbohydrates, If carbohydrates are present, they can get broken down. If they're absent, the body can go first for fats. If fats are able to get exhausted, then the body can lastly go for proteins so that the body can be able to get energy. So thyroxine hormone is produced by the thyroid gland by the nervous stimulation of the hypothalamus so that there is facilitation of metabolism, so that glucose can get oxidized, so that there's breakdown of glucose for the body to get energy. And sometimes the thyroid gland can either overproduce this thyroxine hormone or underproduce. So there's what you call undersecretion or oversecretion. That's what we actually refer to as hyperthyroidism, that is oversecretion, or hypothyroidism or undersecretion. Apart from that, thyroxine hormone is believed to ensure that it assists. So together with somatotrophin, so that means thyroxine hormone works hand in hand with the somatotrophin hormone. This hormone is a growth hormone, and this ends up aiding in the normal growth and development. So together with somatotrophin hormone or growth hormone, there is normal growth and development. There's normal growth and development, and most importantly, physical growth and development, and of course, mental growth and development. So an inadequacy of that hormone can actually facilitate poor mental development or poor physical development. Okay, you should also note that this hormone can as well be able to work with adrenaline. Remember, adrenaline hormone is produced by the adrenal glands. So I'm actually talking about thyroxine hormone working hand in hand with adrenaline hormone produced by adrenal glands located above each kidney. Remember, a normal human being has 2 kidneys, unless you've actually sold one. Every human being has 2 kidneys, and above each kidney, there is what you call an adrenal gland. That adrenal gland will produce adrenaline hormone. And when thyroxine hormone works hand in hand with adrenaline hormone, then one is prepared for emergency, fight, or flight. Take this example. You've gone to a place where there's danger. A lion just accidentally or unexpectedly appears. What do? You'll actually be able to encounter drastic changes in your body. Then that tells you that adrenaline hormone has been produced by the adrenal gland, and together with the thyroxine hormone, they are preparing your body either to fight the lion or to run away. You either fight or flee. So thyroxine and adrenaline work hand in hand to prepare one for an emergency fight or flight. And how? One, you'll find this hormone increasing the rate of metabolism in terms of the breakdown of glucose in the presence of oxygen through a process called respiration to produce energy for you to either fight or flight. Also, you'll find that your heartbeat will increase when there's an emergency, and that means adrenaline has initiated the increase in heartbeat, so that there's what you call an increased supply of oxygen to the muscles. When the muscles have an adequate supply of oxygen and nutrients, they'll break down the nutrients or glucose, for example, so that energy is availed to them for them to fight or fly. Now, apart from just increasing the heartbeat, the breathing rate also increases when adrenaline is actually produced and when working hand in hand with thyroxine hormone. So thyroxine can work with adrenaline to actually prepare someone for emergency flight or fight by, for example, increasing metabolism or increasing the heartbeat and the breathing rate. And that aids in one escaping danger or counteracting any effect from the danger the person has actually encountered. So those are the three main roles of thyroxine hormone as per our today's discussion. And as I actually had a chance of getting this question, I was trying to imagine what students would have actually written if this was the concept to get introduced to them by the examiner. More specifically, to get back to what the question was asking, the question was asking us to explain the effects of, or to actually give the symptoms of hypothyroidism. You see, you should understand this. Sometimes the thyroid gland that produces thyroxine hormone can undersecrete the hormone or oversecrete hormones, such as thyroxine. What you need to understand is this. Undersecretion of thyroxine. Undersecretion of thyroxine is called hypothyroidism. Undersecretion of thyroxine hormone by the thyroid gland is called hypothyroidism. And this can end up having drastic effects symptomatically to both the young and the adults. For example, this undersecretion or hypothyroidism can actually be able to result into several effects to the adults and the children. But first, what can cause this undersecretion? One is when there's what you call an inadequate iodine in the diet. Why? Let's get back to this. You should know that thyroxine is a component of iodine. So when there is an inadequate iodine in the body, then that means there's an inadequacy of thyroxine hormone. I want to repeat this. When there is an inadequate amount of iodine in your body, then that means there will be an inadequacy of what you call thyroxine hormone. So when the body is well supplemented with iodine, then that means there will be an inadequate amount of thyroxine if the less of that is actually available. So what does that mean? It means for you to have enough thyroxine hormone, then there must be adequate iodine supply to the body. If there's an inadequate supply of iodine to your body, then that means there will be an inadequacy of thyroxine in your body. And that can translate into what you call undersecretion of thyroxine or hypothyroidism. Inadequate iodine in the diet can cause undersecretion of thyroxine or hypothyroidism. Okay, another cause of undersecretion of thyroxine or hypothyroidism in the body of a human being is where there is what you call defective enzymatic actions. Defective enzymatic actions leading to formation of the hormone. What does that tell you about this hormone? You should know this. You were told that hormones and enzymes are proteins in nature. And you were told that several amino acids can give us a protein. Let me begin from here. You were told that hormones and enzymes are proteins in nature. So, for us to form thyroxine, which is a hormone, then that means there must be some enzymatic actions that will lead to the formation of the thyroxine hormone. So, if the enzymatic actions forming thyroxine are defective, then expect an inadequacy of this hormone. I want to repeat. If the enzymatic actions of the enzymes that lead to the formation of this hormone are defective, they are not effective, then that means the formation of this hormone becomes a challenge. Then that means someone ends up having an inadequacy of this hormone in the body. So defective enzymatic actions can lead to the formation of this hormone in small amounts. And if the enzymatic actions are very effective, are biologically substantial. And that means an adequate amount of this hormone can get produced. Now, I just want to inform you that we were told that a DNA is double-stranded, long structure. This DNA has bases, and we actually say the bases are adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. These bases are abbreviated as A, G, C, and T, and they can actually be able to get capitalized as A, G, C, and T. So any coding that gets done should be able to capture the use of these capital letters to represent those 4 bases found along the DNA. So we said that any 3 bases, for example, A. Let this be clear to everyone that our DNA is a double-stranded structure that houses bases in millions. Those bases are abbreviated as capital A, capital G, capital C, and capital T. Capital A stands for adenine, G stands for guanine, C stands for cytosine, and T stands for thymine. We normally say that 3 bases are able to actually undergo what you call coding, and that forms what you call a codon or a base triplet. So 3 bases along the DNA are able to actually get coded, and they form what you call a codon or a base triplet. Tri means 3. So then that means every 3 bases along the DNA are able to actually bind to each other, are actually able to form a particular sequence. And that sequence communicates something in terms of the production of amino acids. So 3 bases, for example, adenine, are able to get coded through what you call the coding process along the DNA to form what you call a codon or a base triplet. You heard of translocation, transcription, translation. So 3 bases are able to form what you call a codon or a base triplet, and they actually undergo a process called coding, and that forms what you call an amino acid. So you can try to imagine, if these bases are in millions, how many amino acids do you expect to find along the DNA? Look at that. And of course, those several amino acids undergo what you call condensation to form a protein. See, and that protein can be able to actually determine a particular characteristic in living organisms. And of course, proteins can either be structural or functional. Structural to mean they are actually body building substrates, or they make up the bodies of living organisms. And functional proteins are either hormones or enzymes. And we said hormones are chemical messengers that determine different characteristics in the living of an organism. They are chemical messengers that are metabolic in nature. They actually foresee different metabolic functions. They actually control different metabolic processes in the living organisms. They are actually able to become so homeostatic. They monitor the concentration of different substances. They monitor the speed at which different processes occur in the bodies of living organisms. They monitor each and every function occurring in the body of an organism. They actually monitor the state of each and every cell in the body of an organism, so that they can be able to restore the abnormal situations into what you call the normal situations. Now, enzymes are just catalysts that can alter the rate of reactions. So an enzyme is an organic catalyst that can speed up or slow down the rate of a reaction. For example, you've heard of what you call respiratory enzymes that can slow down or speed up the rate of respiration. You've heard of what you call digestive enzymes that can be able to actually alter the rate of the breakdown of food, so that the digestion of food can end in the small intestine, so that the end products of digestion can get absorbed into the bloodstream while in the ileum. Now, so hormones and enzymes are proteins. They need to be manufactured along the DNA. Look at that. Because we've said several bases, 3 of them can code to form a codon or a base triplet. Several amino acids formed from the coding of the bases along the DNA can form a protein. That protein can either be a hormone or an enzyme. So for us to form thyroxine hormone, we require the coding along the DNA because thyroxine is a hormone, and being a hormone, it's a protein, and any protein must be formed along the DNA. Okay, we want to see what are the effects of undersecretion of thyroxine. So the effects of hypothyroidism. So hypothyroidism in young children can cause what we call cretinism. It's a condition that actually gets found in young children if their thyroid gland is undersecreting thyroxine hormone. And cretinism in children can get exhibited in 1. Deformed legs. The children with cretinism as a condition where there is undersecretion of thyroxine can have deformed legs. Number 2, they have what you call sluggishness. There's what you call mental deficiency. Then they have what you call large tank. There's what we call poor physical development. Remember, you are undersecreting thyroxine as a thyroid gland. There's less thyroxine hormone in the body of this child. The child develops a condition called cretinism. We expect this child to be less active physically, and of course, there's less in terms of development if there's less oxidation of glucose or less metabolism. So the legs will be deformed because the bones will not be well deformed. If the bones are not well formed, then that means they become deformed. They translate to what we call the legs becoming deformed. There's sluggishness because there's less rate of oxidation, less energy is produced, and the child becomes very sluggish, very slow, and less in the activeness we expect to find the child having at that young age. There's what we call mental deficiency because if there's less physical development, then that means mentally the child is actually going to be deficient because of what we call poor mental development. So they have what we call a low intelligence. So one of the causes of low intelligence or poor intelligence that can translate into poor performance in the academics, in our normal activities in our daily lives, is what we call low deficiency or mental deficiency because of what we call inadequacy of thyroxine in our bodies. Large tank, what we call pure physical development because of the sluggishness. And of course, in adults, we expect to find a condition called myxoedema. There is undersecretion of thyroxine. The condition in adults is called myxoedema. And in adults is what we call sluggishness as well. And this sluggishness can translate into low breathing rate, low heartbeat, you are less active, less oxidation of glucose, less energy in the body. Your heartbeat is low, your breathing rate is low. You can also be able to record a very low temperature. Remember, we said thyroxine facilitates the oxidation of glucose, which means the breakdown of food to produce energy. That energy is actually a form that is supposed to be required in the body for different metabolic activities. So, a low temperature because of low oxidation of glucose, because less energy, and heat, of course, a type of energy produced when the glucose is actually oxidized. So, low breathing rate, low heartbeat, low temperature. And there can also be what you call less active physically, and this translates into weight gain or obesity. You are less active, less glucose is broken down, so much is accumulated, much is stored in the body, so you actually end up gaining a lot of weight. So you actually develop a condition called obesity. And of course, you can also be able to have this. You can end up actually having what you call a puffy face and swollen feet due to retention of body fluids, and this is called oedema. Less active, much fluid is retained in the body, develop a puffy face and swollen feet. These people can also develop what we call goiter. Goiter is the swelling of the thyroid gland. Why? Because the body has realized that there's less thyroxine hormone. The brain stimulates the thyroid gland, now the hypothalamus, to produce more of the thyroxine hormone. So the stimulation of the thyroid gland will make that gland to overwork itself. And in the process of overworking itself, it ends up swelling in the process of meeting the demand of the body in terms of thyroxine production. So goiter can develop in such individuals whenever this situation arises, as far as hypothyroidism is concerned. Thank you so much for your time, and let's meet in our next lesson.